I'm Sean Bose, concert visual designer in Los Angeles, California. Today, I'm going to teach you how to use Stageflow. Stageflow is a plugin for Resolume that expands the functionality of the advanced output, allowing you to quickly and easily map complex LED stages while saving performance. Stageflow allows you to remap your content to slices or groups of slices and create looks with these mapping variations that you can switch between or mix and match live during the show. It also moves one step of the input mapping process outside of Resolume, which can save on processing power. That step is where you space out your slices to match how they're arranged in the real world. Moving this outside Resolume can save processing power because it allows you to reduce the spacing between your slices and create a more compact approximation of the stage in your input map. This gives you a smaller composition size with less unused pixels, hence saving processing power. But it still sends the properly spatially mapped content to the screens. Hell yeah. Stageflow does all the hard math for you, making it super quick to set up and easy to adjust. It's great for festival gigs with lots of screens and slices, but I use it for simple gigs as well. Before we get started, if you don't have Stageflow yet, you can go to Hybrid Constructs and pick up a demo version. Before we get into Stageflow, you're going to need to have a few things ready already. You're going to need Resolume open, and you're going to need your advanced output set up, your input and output map. If you have this already set up, great. You can skip ahead a little bit and we'll jump into the tutorial. If you don't have this set up already, you can go do that. If you're not familiar with the process of setting up your slices and your advanced output, check out the tutorial that I have up here somewhere that will get you started with that. Or down in the description, I'm providing the input map and XML and everything that I'm using already, so you can load that up and start exactly where I'm starting and follow along. Okay, so like I said, you're going to want to have Resolume open and your advanced output all set up. I've got this stage set up with a ton of slices. If you went ahead and downloaded mine and want to use that, you can go over here and just load the XML file I provided, and this will all pop up. Once we have this all set up, we can go ahead and open Stageflow. When you open Stageflow, it's going to automatically load the active input map into Stageflow, which is awesome. If it doesn't do that, you can go ahead and just hit File, New to refresh it. The next step we need to do is to rearrange the slices and space them out to match their physical layout. To help us with this, we can load a guide by clicking the guide button and browsing for a file. Or we can just go ahead and drag our stage diagram right onto our screen. You can adjust the opacity over here or toggle visibility. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the handles to scale this up to match the scale of our slices so that we're not scaling our slices up and down. I'm going to hold Shift and Option to scale this up from the center. I can use the middle mouse wheel to zoom out a little bit. Shift and Option, and drag this out until our center main screen kind of matches with our slice size. We can go ahead and move it up and just match the position. That's looking pretty good, so we'll go ahead back up here and lock our guide. Maybe turn our opacity down just a touch. Cool. Now all we need to do is start rearranging our slices to match these positions. And you can go in your stage if this is a little bit distracting, and you could turn on and off some slices, kind of get them out of the way. Let's just focus on these guys here. You can click and drag to select a bunch, move them over. Just try to line them up nice. You can use arrow keys to nudge it over, hold shift to nudge it in larger increments. And you can see the snapping tools. Once we have some reference, this one's snapped so that the spacing between these two is equal. So that's pretty cool. Let's grab these and move them down. And you can see that row snapped into place as well. And then this side should be even easier because our snapping is actually going to work across the center line as well and really help us to get these lined up and symmetrical. So that's awesome. Love that. Beautiful. Let's get our columns in place. Once again, snapping is helping us keep that centered vertically, which is really nice. You can select slices with the list as well. Shift click to get that. Hide that. Once again, we're going to use Alt and Shift to scale out. Keep going. And then use Control Z to undo. That's handy. And we'll just nudge these up with the arrow keys to match their position a little bit better. And that's looking pretty good. If you need to, you can also rotate using this handle, holding Shift to get even increments. And if you don't want snapping involved, you can toggle this magnet over here or hold Control while clicking, dragging in something to disable it temporarily. Just undo that. And if you need to pan around the screen at all, you can hold the space bar, click and drag, or use the middle mouse button. Alright, so now that we have our slices arranged to match the physical stage and they're looking really good, we could go ahead and start creating some looks. If we go over here, open up the looks menu, you can see we default with look 1 already enabled. And on the right, we have our properties for that look. First thing we want to do is set our resolution, and this is going to be the resolution of your content. So for me, I'm planning to use some 4K content, so I'm going to update this to 4K resolution, and now we're ready to populate the look. So a look is made up of one or more focals, and a focal is an instance of your content which is being mapped across a slice or a group of slices that you have selected. So to make one, we're just going to select the slices we want to include. In this case, I'm selecting all of them. And we're going to click Add Focal. And then you can see this kind of grid test pattern is an instance of our 4K content. And we can then kind of adjust it as needed so that it's projected onto our slices in the way that we want. So I might move this down until it feels like it's centered on this row and our center screen. So that feels pretty good. It would actually probably help if I moved all my slices up to that center line on our canvas. I can unlock our guide to match. Lock it again. Cool. And if you want, you can get really precise with all of these values over here. Make sure that it's centered on your canvas. And you can also see different things like what size this is now and what scale percentage it is. So you can see this is scaled up quite a bit actually at 171%. But you know, we just want to cover our full stage with some content, so that's fine for now. Now it's just a matter of repeating this process so that we can create more looks and add one or more focals to each of those looks. And there are no real rules here. You can kind of get creative with this, but there are a couple of things to keep in mind. As I just mentioned, you really don't want to scale your content up too much. So keep an eye on those values on the right side there. And as a general rule of thumb, try not to go much over 130, maybe 150 if you're really pushing it. That way you can avoid any pixelation or issues that arise from scaling images up too much. You also want to avoid squashing or stretching your content unproportionally. Another thing to avoid is large unused areas of a focal that aren't being used by a slice. Sometimes this is unavoidable. It's just a general rule of thumb. And pro tip, order matters. Look 2 will be displayed on top of look 1 and so on and so on. So you can actually mix and match looks and they'll be stacked in that order. So keep that order in mind as you're creating your looks. In general, I like to build from large to small. So as you can see, look 1 included the full stage. And then I might start splitting the stage into halves or thirds and then move down into individual elements or sections in my higher number looks. That way I can stack on top of each other, and as I'm adding more and more looks to my final look that's sent to stage, I'm not blocking anything or losing anything, I'm just adding more and more complexity. And you can always drop out some of those big looks in order to have single areas of the stage isolated and the rest blacked out, which could be a really cool effect as well. Like I said, have fun with it. Let's jump back in and make some more looks. All right, to add another look, we just hit add look. And we're going to repeat the process and select a group of slices and add a focal. Let's do it again. We'll make another look. Now we'll select this group of slices and add a focal. We can reposition it so that it's centered on this grid. I think that's going to look nice. And as I mentioned, you can add multiple focals to a look. So we'll sort of duplicate that onto the other side. Now, before we get too far, we should stay organized, and we can actually rename these. So if you select your look and then come over here to the properties, you can give it a name. So we'll call this one full stage. We'll call the next one main plus booth. And we'll call the next one grids. Let's keep it going and let's get something for these arches here. We'll make another look. We can call it arches off the bat. And let's select an arch and add a focal. Now, as you can see, all of our slices turned this light purple color. And if we untwirl our focal, you could see which slices are included, and it's all of them. So what we can do with this selected is just deselect some of these slices. You can do that in the interface or over here as well. Deselected some of the wrong ones. There we go. So now I have what I want selected. All right, so I want to just adjust this down so that it's aligned with the top edge. So if I have some like border content or something, it will hit those edges. I think that could make a cool radiating effect. Let's twirl that up. Let's select. We can lock that. Not locking. Okay, that's fine. You can also turn it off with the eyeball if it's getting in our way. Select these, add the focal. Once again, selecting too much. Cool. Hide that one. And the last one. I don't think I adjusted the other one. So let's adjust that. Snapping for the win. All right. Get these fools out of here. Too many slices. Boom. All right. Looking pretty good. And let's add one more. Nope. We can delete it using the X. Let's add another look. Call this one squares. So I want to do a focal in each square. Like I said, we're going big to small, and you can add basically as many focals as you want, I think. I have not found the limit. Once you have a bunch of looks, you can go ahead and cycle through them by using these buttons. And you can go ahead and drag and reorder them if you'd like to. Let's make sure our eyeballs are on for our arches. And we're good. So now let's jump back over to Resolume and see how we can use this inside our show. Cool, so we're inside of Resolume. We have some 4K content playing in our composition. We're gonna go to Effects and search Stageflow. Just drag that onto the composition and it's working. We have our full stage look active. You can see that it's inside all of our slices, filling everything up, and our content is stretched across the whole screen and positioned how we wanted it to be. And we have these sliders for each of the looks we created. The names came through, and you can slide them up or down. And we have our main booth. We have our grids, arches, and the individual squares. And we can mix and match these any which way that we want. To get a whole bunch of looks. This is cool, but our preview over here looks a little bit wonky because this is the compact version of the stage. So like things kind of don't look like they're lining up right. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. And we'd like to verify our mapping. Luckily, Stageflow has a tool for that. So we'll go back to Stageflow. Go to Preview and click Windowed. And that's going to make this window pop up. And if we go back to Resolume, it's even going to stay on top of Resolume, which is cool. So we can, kind of stick it over here, over one of our preview windows. And to get content to send to this and actually show us a preview, all we need to do is enable Spout. So we go to Output, and under Composition Output Sharing, click Texture Sharing, Spout, or Siphon to enable that, and boom. Now we have a preview with all of our slices spaced out exactly as they should be in the real world because we used our diagram, and you can see all of our lines are nice and straight and lining up, and we can try out all kinds of different content and verify that it's all working and looking good. And that is really cool. This is really awesome for previs and doing a lot of prep before you even get on site to the gig, which is amazing. You can show up, plug in, and everything's already mapped. The other cool thing about Stageflow is that it auto saves, so you don't have to worry about that at all, unless you're working in an environment where you're going to need to work on multiple different stage setups. In that case, you can manually save and load Stageflow files so that you can switch between two different ones as you're switching between stages. To do that, we're just going to go back up to the File menu and Save As, or you can go ahead and load a previous document with the Load button. Okay, so those are the basics of how to use Stageflow. you can grab a copy and be up and running in no time. I hope this was helpful. Remember, my viewers get 25% off through the good graces of our Lord and Savior, Joris, who has provided a discount code. Get in the description, click that link, grab Stageflow, and join the team. Some of the best shows in the world are run with Stageflow, and yours can too. So hop on the train. Let's go. Hell yeah, motherfuckers. Sorry, I got a little excited. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and of course, come back later for more videos. Thanks for watching. Peace.